everyone, and welcome back to Easy Cooking with Linda B. A friend of mine who I've known since kindergarten has asked me if I would make chicken marsala, which I think is a great dish for any time of year. And also along with that, I am going to make cauliflower mash, and I'm going to show you how I put it all together. So the first thing I want to do is show you how to make the cauliflower mashed. I had heard about these probably about 20 years ago when Bob and I went on the South Beach diet. And we came across this recipe and it absolutely intrigued me. I put it together and oh my goodness, it was delicious. And I'm going to show you a simple version of how to put it together. Okay, so the first thing I need to do is take my cauliflower, which I had broken them down into florets. It will make it much easier to cook them. In here I have steaming water with my steamer basket, and I'm just going to put the cauliflower in here. Now, all we want to do is cook them until they're fork tender, because we're going to turn them over to the blender when they are done. Okay, and just cover it up and let it steam away. All right, what you will need to make your chicken marsala is chicken cutlets, and I have already washed them and I dried them here on paper towels. Now, luckily, I got cutlets. They were on sale, and they don't need to be pounded out. I feel like they are the perfect thickness for what I need to do. Also, you're going to need dredging flour, salt and pepper. We're going to also need garlic, and I want to use shallots because shallots is a milder onion and it gives it a nice flavor. We'll need butter, mushrooms, which I'm going to use baby bella mushrooms, a little bit of thyme, and oil, and of course the most important ingredient, which makes it marsala, is marsala wine. So the first thing I will do here is I'm going to sprinkle some salt on each cutlet, both sides, and pepper. Okay, as you can see, I have the chicken prepared. They're seasoned on both sides. And before I dredge them in the flour, I want to get my skillet ready. I have it pretty hot right now. I'm going to put about a tablespoon of oil, and also just under a tablespoon of butter. Okay, we'll let that blend together here. So now, while this is melting down, I will now dredge the chicken. I'll move this out of the way so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to dredge the chicken in this flour. And I think that's a good amount of flour. You don't want too much. You will end up making a gravy, so if you do need to add a little bit of flour afterwards, you can. But at this point, I think we may have enough. There I go again, guys. I'm making a mess. That's just me. Okay, so I'm getting these dredged. And it worked out well. I have enough flour here. Okay, wipe that off. All right, now the butter is almost completely melted at this point. And now I'm going to lay the chicken into the sauté pan. And it looks like I may be able to get 3 in here. So what you want to do is brown these on each side, probably about 2 minutes on each side, because remember, we're going to return this back to the sauce at the end, and the magic all happens then. All right, now the cutlets are cooking up beautifully. It's been 2 minutes. I will flip this. Always remember about the tongs, everyone. This one, which is my short tong, I will be using for the raw chicken. And then, of course, the long tongs I'm going to use for the clean cutlets, or not clean, but cooked cutlets when they come out. So I'm gonna let these cook for 2 more minutes on this side, and then I'll get back to you. Cutlets are cooked beautifully. If they're a little undercooked at this point, do not worry about it, because we're gonna put them back inside the sauce and they're gonna cook for a little bit. But now, see the beautiful brown bits that are in the bottom of this pan? We're gonna use them to saute our shallots and our garlic. So I wanted to return a little more butter to the pan. And those brown bits are gonna get all mixed in. This is gonna be beautiful. So now I will put in my shallots, get them mixed up. And then at this point, I will add my garlic. And here I have 4 cloves of garlic that's minced. Keep that moving. All right, and now I'm going to add my mushrooms. Probably going to use about a half a container. It's gotten a little dry, so I will add just a little more oil. And now what I want to do is just cook these mushrooms until they get a little softer. Okay, so the mushrooms have been sauteing for about 5 minutes, so they're starting to soften. But I don't want to burn my garlic either. So at this point, I'm going to add my chicken broth. I'm not using a whole can. I'll probably use about a half a cup, maybe a little bit more. So I have to go by eyesight to decide how much I really do need. So I'm going to pour some in here. And then scrape the bottom to get all those beautiful bits released and flavor into the sauce. I'm going to increase my heat just a little bit more to get that cooking. And now what I'm going to do is I will add my Marsala wine. Same thing, I'll probably use a half a cup to maybe 3/4 of a cup for this. I would say that's good right there. And then I'm going to sprinkle in some thyme, which is fresh, in terms of not expired. And get this all mixed together. So you want to cook this and let the wine reduce by half. And so it's going to take maybe about 10 or 15 minutes, and I'll show you what we do next. Okay, so the sauce is now thickened. I had this cooking for about 15 minutes. The mushrooms are perfectly soft. The shallots are nice and tender. Now what I will do is return the chicken back into the gravy. So by putting it back into the liquid, you will finish cooking it. Also, you'll be adding the flavor into the chicken of that Marsala that you're looking for. So I'm going to lower my heat. I will let this sit here for about 2 minutes on each side, and then I'll show you what we do next, because now we have to make the cauliflower mash, and I'll show you how to do that. Okay, the cauliflower is fork tender, so it's perfect at this point. So now what I will do is I'm going to take the cauliflower, put it into my Ninja, like that. Oh, one thing I need is a little bit of salt and pepper. I don't know if any of you've made these before. They are just so delicious. And I feel like it's guilt-free. This is the low-carb part of our meal because we're not having potatoes. Okay, now, I know with the original recipe it calls for low fat. I'm not too concerned about the fat. I'm not going to put a lot. I want to put just a little bit of light cream in here, just to give it some creaminess. And then also I have taken, sorry about that, I have taken a tablespoon of butter and I've melted it down like that. And now what we're going to do is blend this all together. And when it comes out, you will see that it looks just like mashed potatoes. All right, so now we're ready to blend this. I'm gonna do short bursts at a time. And it looks like I'm probably gonna need to add just a little bit more cream and the rest of this butter, just to really break up that cauliflower to a mash. And of course you could always add, if you wanted to, you could always add a little bit of chicken broth too. So if you want to stay from the fatty dairy products. Okay, and as you can see, it has the mashed potato consistency right there. And of course you could add more seasoning. Another thing you could do if you wanted was roast up some garlic and then put the garlic in here when you mash it all together. That would give it an amazing flavor. So now I'm going to put my whole meal together and I'll show you how it looks. The chicken marsala is completely cooked. It is now ready to be served. It came out gorgeous. The sauce is thick and I know the flavors are perfect. So what I'm going to do is plate it up. I have one beautiful cutlet right here. Scoop up a little bit of the shallots with the mushrooms. Look at that. And then here's the cauliflower mash. And I also had boiled up some French style green beans. And there you have it, chicken marsala, cauliflower mashed, and green beans. Now it's going to be time for the taste test. Okay, here we go. I'm going to dive into this beautiful dish. Cut off a piece of this. Look at that, it's perfectly cooked inside. Now I'm going to taste it. Oh my goodness, that is so good. And now, a taste of the cauliflower mash. Of course, cauliflower is a little sweeter. It doesn't really give you that starchy, heavy feeling as a potato would. And it really is very delicious. If you haven't tried it yet, please do so. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. And now green bean. Excellent dish. And I want to thank my friend for suggesting that I make this. So I hope you enjoyed watching me make this beautiful chicken marsala dish with cauliflower mash and green beans. And thank you for taking the time to watch my videos. My subscribership is growing and I want to thank you all very much. I appreciate your support and please remember, enjoy life and never stop learning. Bye now.